It was a good finish today. It was a modified scrimmage, and we had the bulk of the practice was normal practice routine, practice drills, but we scrimmaged the young guys at the end, and thought we got a lot accomplished this camp. And we'll look at this film today and come out with a new 2-deep depth chart on Monday and start getting ready for Northern Colorado.
Has John Hayes kind of solidified his spot at number 2?
More or less. It's not absolute, but right now, if when the depth chart comes out on Monday, that'll most likely be the case.
What's the advantage he maybe has, or he's had through camp over Travis Wilson?
Experience. All last season playing in all those ball games that he played in for us, and that's really the major component.
How did you like Travis today during the scrimmage?
Some good, some bad. I think the quarterbacks in general were not very sharp today. That was Jordan. We rested him one more day. He'll be back out Monday, full speed. But I would say the quarterbacks maybe had one of the poorer days of camp today.
If he had to take a couple days off practice during the season, would you be able to play him?
Absolutely. He could have played today. He could have played yesterday. But where we're still 12 days out, we have a chance to get the soreness out of it and the fatigue. Why risk it becoming chronic? And so it was a situation where it was precautionary rather than anything that we had to do.
Do you feel like you're...
What's the level of concern with the soreness?
No, according to the trainer, zero concern. It's just there's nothing structurally. It's just tired on. Throwing his fastballs off fall camp, trying to put more zip on the ball, and consequently just got a little bit more.
Coming out of camp, health-wise in general, how do you feel?
Very good. We had a lot of bumps and bruises and pulls that were just nagging things, but nothing that was as season any other than Junior Salt's fracture, which we don't know when that happened. Still, he doesn't know when it happened. But the majority of our injuries happened before we started camp. Appendectomies and Achilles tendons and that type of thing.
Do you feel like you're any closer to decision on tackles?
Yeah, we're closer. And if we get Miles Mason back on Monday, he will line up as the #1 left tackle, and Pop will be the #1 right tackle, and Patasi will be behind Miles at left, and we got a couple guys battling for the second spot in the right spot.
Will that stay if everybody stays healthy? Would you anticipate that staying, or could maybe a Patasi?
We'll see how they perform in practice. We've got to continue to perform every day. They've got to give us a starting point.
The way you use John White during camp, is he ready to really kind of assume more of a full contact role?
Absolutely. He's had contact.
Yeah.
He just hasn't been doing any live work. But we've had several what we call thud drills where you wrap rubber and it stays on the feet, so it's everything but the finish. And he's been doing that all camp long. And so we just kept him out of the live work so we don't get all his bodies tangled up.
How about is Kelvin
John White?
Playing behind John White right now, it's a battle between Kelvin York, who's had a pretty good camp, and Jarrell Oliver, who had a very good camp. Coming out of spring, it was pretty cut and dry that Kelvin was the #2 guy, but Jarrell is challenging now, and I'd say those guys are 1A, 1B at this point.
Kenneth Scott went down today.
Should be okay. Bruce shin. Yeah, so he took a shot in the shin, and he should be okay. Maybe sore for a few days, but nothing that should affect the opener.
Linebackers too. You've talked about them through camp in a real battle. Will they be pretty much set come Monday, or is that still open?
Situated Monday, but again, you got to continue to perform in practice. But we have a pretty good idea of where we're going to be depth-wise on Monday.
Will Trevor Riley see? Do you anticipate more time at stud linebacker or at defensive end?
Week to week, it depends on the scheme we're facing. If we're facing a spread scheme and the 3 and 4 wide receiver schemes, then he'll be able to play more defensive end for us. If we're facing more two-back stuff, then it's more of a linebacker role.
Is Coleman back in the lead at place kicker?
Yeah, Coleman is our place kicker. That's been determined, and again, unless he has a meltdown in the next 2 weeks, but right now Coleman is clearly our #1 place kicker.
How about that starting safety spot? Quaid,
yeah, we expect him Monday. He probably could have gone today, but when you give him today off and you combine that with the day off of Sunday, it just makes sense to not aggravate it today. Give him 48 hours or whatever it's going to be to get him that much more healthy for Monday's practice. And that was the same thing with a bunch of guys. Jordan could have gone today. Ryan Lacey could have gone today. Sam Brenner, Vincent Jones, all those guys. But it didn't make sense, so we started Monday.
Biggest difference entering your second season, Pac-12, is it the depth going out of this camp from last camp?
I think 2 things: the depth and the familiarity that we have with the conference. Last year there was a lot of unknowns, but this year, plus last year we had the distraction of the inaugural year in the Pac-12 was a big hoopla, and this year that's kind of died down and it's just business.
Has Terrell Reese had a good enough camp where if Quaid were to re-injure that shoulder, you'd feel comfortable with that?
Without a doubt. Him and Tyrone Morris and Michael Walker, for that matter, we feel all 3 of those guys are game ready right now.
Pretty deep at safety.
Pretty deep at safety. It's a good spot.
You've been known to use things as motivation. out today, you're not in it, you think that might be something that bring up?
Nope. I'll bring it up.
So apparently you won't bring it up.
No.
Does that mean you won't bring it up?
Levity.
With all the guys you got at tight end, how do you figure out when they're playing and who's playing?
Yeah, we're going to maximize that group. That group is coming out of fall camp. That might be the physically toughest group that we have in the football team. Those guys were at every practice, never missed. I mean, those guys are extremely talented, and we're going to have a bunch of personnel groupings that try to maximize that. They're going to be on the field a lot.
So all of them then?
Maybe all at one time.
All at one time.
Seriously, yeah, we got those guys are playmakers. They've been making plays from day one in fall camp through today, and so they're going to be utilized, and you're going to see a bunch of multiple tight end personnel groups with a bunch of ways that we can utilize them.
Can you talk a little bit about Oliver and York, kind of what they bring to the team, what the benefits of both are, and where they need to improve?
Well, first of all, Kelvin's a bigger back. He's about 225, a little more of a physicality to him just by stature, although Jarrell runs bigger than his stature. You know, some backs run bigger than they are, and some backs run like they're hollow. You know, so Jarrell, although he's not as big as Kelvin, is actually probably a better north-south runner. There's very little wasted motion in Jarrell's running style. He's very efficient. He's always getting positive yards. He's got great body lean. He runs behind his pads exceptionally well. So he's got a lot of things you look for in a running back. Just doesn't have great size. He's about 210. Whereas Kelvin's got the big size, and Kelvin probably is maybe a little niftier on the outside than what Jarrell is. But they're both going to be good players for us, and they will both get their opportunity to spell John White.
You're still looking at maybe possibly going with some two-back stuff?
Sure. Yep, and also two-back stuff with one of those backs being a tight end.
Yeah.
And that's going to be part of it.
Is that the biggest difference in Brian's offense maybe from passages? It seems like you guys are really working with the versatility of players a little bit more.
Exactly, yeah, and more dynamic and diverse with our formations, our shifts, our motions. We're trying to be much less stagnant than we've been in years past.
Was that is that Brian's influence, or is it new talent this year that's
both? You know, the essence of coaching is maximizing their personnel, and that's what we're doing. We're just trying to get the best players on the field, maximize their abilities, and put them in positions where they can succeed.
Any